we're doing on the 23rd of, oh wait, I'll wait on that, that's too scary. On the 23rd of April, we're having a selective college workshop. We've done a bunch of them. We're doing one that day. It's from 3:30 to 5:30 at, we do it in the Federal Building Conference Room. And the first hour is going to be, let's hope I can do this. Jessica Bierman's going to help me. I'm going to do a Zoom video conference with admissions people from Swarthmore. There's a woman from Wesleyan who's actually from Lapway, so she reached out to me. There's a woman from an organization called Colleges That Change Lives, which is a big national organization that represents about 40 schools, and then someone from Reed. And they're all going to do an hour-long presentation. I can picture it in my head. Let's hope I can make it work. You know, to answer questions about what you need to do to think about selective colleges. So, and they were all really happy to participate. You know, so that's a good thing. And then the second hour, we get people from selective schools to just sit around in conversation with kids. So if you're one of them, let me know. And we have a broad definition of selective schools. It's not Ivy League, you know. Okay, so then do you have any questions about all of that and what we're doing? Yes?
I was just going to add, Peggy, that when I was in college, I worked in the admissions office, and we were the first round of scorers on applications. So we would go through and give the initial score on them, then pass them on to the admissions counselors. And another thing that rural kids get dinged for is the more AP and IB classes your high school offers, the better whether you took those courses or not, it just proves that your high school has more opportunities, and they infer that you probably got a higher quality education.
Right. And you know, they do that. Moscow actually has a number. That was part of what College Board did. We bought a lot of AP classes as well. So, and I'll tell you something really interesting. One thing out of my class at UCLA, which was a great program. UCLA Extension has really good classes in a lot of subjects, and this college counseling certificate was fantastic. And one of the things I learned is that schools have a profile, right? And Moscow High has a profile, but they were talking, they said they had a class where they talked about profiles and what they can contain. And some of them were way more tooting your own horn than the Idaho ones were, you know, and they said, this is where our kids get in. They said all this stuff. And so I talked to Eric and to the counselors at Moscow High and said, hey, you know, you might want to play with that. And they did. Right. And I don't know, you can't say anything caused anything, because who knows, but we have done a lot better since they did that. You know, somebody got into Stanford, somebody got into MIT, somebody got into Brown, somebody got into Yale, and they're great kids, but there were great kids before that didn't. So who knows who knows, but yeah, that's the thing, they do judge schools, you know, and they're judging them because you can't really use grades that well. You can't say that somebody who got a 4.0 somewhere, that means they're going to be able to handle, you know, so yeah, it's a hard thing.
That's an interesting thing, because graduate schools are also now discounting GPAs because the great inflation, and so they're looking at what did you do, where did you go,
and then it also gets you back into test scores, which is a bummer, because some people don't, that's not as good a connection. It rules out a lot of kids that are talented. So, any other questions? I was just going to talk about some barriers that I have experienced as I talk to kids. I mean, that's the main thing is, this is really, I've changed in my thinking so much since I started doing this. You know, it's just, and I'm not saying, I wouldn't say I was wrong about things before, but really experiencing things really can open your eyes, and that's mine. So this is one that I knew was awful, but one of the biggest barriers to college, to even thinking about college, is the money. And it's crazy now. And so I do this class on finding affordable colleges, and this is a slide from that. These are this is the cost of attendance for a number of schools for this school year, 2016, 2017. They're actually higher now for next year. I saw some things that they're higher. But, so cost of attendance is, one thing is, a lot of the paying for college stuff has been really federalized. The Obama administration did a lot of things to sort of standardize things, make things more explicit. And one of the things is they say every school has to do cost of attendance, which means tuition, fees, room and board. It also means travel, personal expenses. It's supposed to be a real picture of what it would cost. So it's not just tuition and fees. So actually, if you were trying to get tuition and fees, you could probably subtract about 3,000 or 4,000 from here. They're still totally scary numbers. But so this is cost of attendance for last year. So, you know, so U of I is actually 16 if you're just looking at tuition and room and board.
Now, that's the College of Idaho, the one down in Southwest?
Yeah, I think it used to be Alberton,
Yeah.
Caldwell.
Right.
They're trying to be like a kind of elite school. They're trying to be like a little Whitman. Pat Vaughn's son goes there, Henry Vaughn goes there. He likes it a lot. I don't know much more about it. So these are the kind of numbers that you're looking at, and that's just awful. But the thing that you have to remember is that it's like airline tickets, which means, and I got these slides. There's a woman who I have done some seminars with who does, Lynn O'Shaughnessy, and she does a lot of stuff on affording college. So she gave me all these slides. And this is her thing, which is college price is like airline tickets. You're probably not paying the same as the person next to you. It's all, or like buying a car. It's not like buying a car, 'cause it's not really negotiation, but it's very individualized. And so it's so important that families know what to do. And we spend a lot of time trying to do that. And I gotta say, I am so frustrated that more people don't take advantage of finding this stuff out, because it kills me. I did a talk last week on finding affordable colleges, and there were only like 10 people there. And I tried so hard to market it, and they're gonna go out and make these same mistakes over and over again, and it kills me because I don't want to hear about it. But the thing that's really important is, like you saw from UCLA was $55,000 for out of state. People say, oh, you can only go to a public school because that's going to be cheaper. Well, if it's not Idaho, or it's not a WUI school, it could easily cost your family more than a private school. So you got to get that out of your head. And then people need to figure out if they would, what their estimated family contribution is. That's that federal number. But it's actually not, there's two. FAFSA is the main one. And then a lot of private schools use a separate one, which is called the profile. But basically those are designed to get a number that they feel like your family can pay. And it's going to be totally different. Where you look should be totally different based on that number. I think that it's like if your family income is like $55,000 a year with 2 kids, your EFC would be something really modest, like $5,000. So if that's you, you need to find schools that will come down to that figure. A lot of schools won't. A lot of public schools say, so what, you have that number. They don't use that to say, we'll give you money down to that number, including U of I. They don't support people down to that number. They can't. I don't think they have the resources. But in any event, there are about 120 schools in the US that will meet all of your need without loans. So if you are a low-income person and you can get into one of those schools, that's what you need to do. And like one thing that we have been able to do, it's really hard to count victories because it's really hard to know whether we're responsible for something or somebody else is. We don't have statistics. But one thing I can point to is that I've helped a few kids find these 100% need schools. So the sweet spot is, because they're really hard to get into, you know, like Harvard, Dartmouth, Stanford, those are 100% need schools. But you get some that are down more like 25, 30% acceptance rate. So the sweet spot is the easiest to get into that meet 100% of need. And a couple of kids, there's a girl from, a student from last year who's at Vassar, and I think she's paying $4,000 a year. And there's one who just got into Franklin and Marshall, which is in Philadelphia, and they're offering her $67,000 a year without loans.
Wow.
So if you can find kids who can get out of town, I think Reed is 100% need school, but they're all hard to get into. So this is another one where you gotta get the kids when if you can, you could do so much with kids if you could help them meet those admission standards.